Greetings, it's Adam with Irata Non Grata, and we've got more Atari news. We've had a lot more Atari news lately than I've had arcade news to discuss. But as you might know or already own, there is the Atari 2600 Plus, which allows you to plug in classic Atari cartridges from the 2600 as well as the Atari 7800. And this morning, Atari announced some new games and hardware for this platform that would also be compatible with your original systems if you still have those. As mentioned, I haven't picked up the 2600 Plus yet. I've been interested in it, but I just had a water pipe break in my house this morning with that enormous expense, unexpected expense, and further expenses that are related to that, among many other things. I just can't afford to grab one right now. But they've announced the CX78 Plus gamepad, and this is very interesting to me. This is something I would want to grab, as I have one of these. If you're not familiar with what this is, back when the Atari 7800 was released, it performed pretty well in Europe. In fact, Atari was pretty strong in Europe under the Trammels. And they released this NES-like gamepad for the 7800, but as far as I recall, it was only released in Europe, or mainly available in Europe. And so it's always been a little bit hard to find here in the States. And while I have one, something went wrong where one of the buttons just doesn't work anymore. It's strange because I think it's this one, but for me, it works in 2600 games, but in 7800 games that use two buttons, it only acts like one button is working. Never really been sure why that is, and I also seem to have lost the little the thumb pad, because what was really cool about that was that you could unscrew the thumb pad, use just the D-pad if you wanted to, or screw the thumb pad back in. And so that was an innovative feature for 1980 whatever when that came out. They've also announced some CX30 Plus paddle controllers, which is nice. It's like if you have an Atari collection, you probably have paddle controllers, but they probably are a bit janky, or maybe one of them doesn't work, or both of them don't work very well. So that could be nice to have. There's an extension cable for those certain controllers that may have cables that are just too short. For some reason, back in the day, Atari liked to make short cables. It's too bad they don't have an extension cable for the Atari 5200 controllers. Those are the ones that have the shortest cables out of all the Atari controllers I've ever owned, and that's always been really annoying if I ever roll out the 5200. And then they have new 7800 game cartridges. So they have Fatal Run, Food Fight, and Ninja Golf. Now, I personally own all of these, so I guess for me, there wouldn't be much of a reason to buy these. I guess one thing that's too bad is that they don't I think it's called the Pokey 1, which is a replacement for the original Pokey sound chip. And, put the Pokey 1 inside of each of these and give them a soundtrack. I mean, maybe Food Fight doesn't necessarily need that, although perhaps if you just wanted to recreate the arcade sounds more authentically, you could. But Ninja Golf has no soundtrack. Fatal Run has a little bit, but it's just using the old Atari 2600 TIA, which is okay when it was used properly, but it wasn't the best. Not as good as a Pokey or a Yamaha synthesizer chip. It seems to me that it'd be really great if both of these, or pretty much most 7800 games, could use a hack with extra music. And maybe that's been done. I haven't cruised Atari Age for a while and looked at hacks. But it seems like most hacks available on the 7800 are only for graphics hacks, adding invincibility or some other difficulty hack, but nothing that's specific to adding music for some reason. And it's that was probably the biggest glaring issue with most 7800 games, was how they just didn't have those. But yeah, that's the Atari news. Are you looking to get any of those for your Atari 2600 Plus or for your existing 7800 or 2600 game console? Let me know what you think, and we'll catch you on the next video.